All right, so Fear Clinic, something I've been looking forward to it, say at least for like the last couple of weeks, and and it's not terrible, it's not brilliant, but I did have fun with it. I think it's the kind of movie that is kind of like straight to video that they're probably not gonna make a lot of money, um, and also the fact that you can't rent it on Amazon Instant Video, you actually have to buy the DVD. Um, But I enjoyed it. I think it looks fantastic. I think there's some interesting horror elements in there. Um, Thomas Dekker doesn't seem to do as much at the beginning, but then obviously does explain because then he's been shot through the brain, so he can't talk. And then near the end, sort of the film, near the end he sort of seems to start to do some acting, opposed to just being, he can't talk, which is good because I was kind of missing that element at first of that he couldn't talk. He was just acting the whole, you know, brain dead kind of thing. And I preferred when he was actually doing a bigger part than just not really saying anything. Um, I think the characters are interesting. I think it's sort of a whole thing of greed going through it. The fact that Robert Englund is quite obsessed with Thea and in a way that you think he's got no sort of no, I wouldn't say like a no emotional thing of what he's doing, but he has no fear in a way, and I think that was interesting the way that they sort of plug into these things, and he's trying to really calm the patient who's in the thing of seeing their fear. Bit obviously alien-esque, the thing that they put them in like a little chamber kind of thing and put his stuff around their face and stuff like that. I mean, all the way through it, I just thought it looks fantastic. Again, the horror elements are interesting, like I say. I don't know who this person is who directed this movie, Robert Hall. Um, I think he directed it quite well. I mean, there are things about it that it accomplishes well. Um, I mean, considering that really bad movie, Evil Feed, it's a lot more interesting because that was obviously supposed to be a horror movie, but it was just a bit of a joke and really a crap movie. Um, and I didn't like that movie. I think this movie's a lot better than that movie. I think there are things about it that do work, but I think there are things about it that don't work. I think there's more stuff that does work than opposed to doesn't. Um, but like at the beginning, it was kind of a little bit hard to understand the sort of the way the film works. Like the rules, the kinds of stuff that goes on. A bit like Gremlins. I know it's like the really weirdest comparison to Gremlins to Fear Clinic, but when I watched Gremlins recently, I kind of forgot all the rules that you can't let them go in the sunlight, otherwise they'll die, and don't let them be exposed to anything after midnight and blah 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 and stuff like that. Um, but after you get over all that, I think you do get into the mindset of the film and the fact that if you close their eyes, that they die and stuff like that. Um, but I think there are definitely things to enjoy about it. I mean, the performances are good generally. I think the two sort of jokey characters could have been cut out, if I'm completely honest. I thought they were a bit like, oh come on, like out of everyone in the entire movie, I thought they didn't really see that interesting. And the Megan character I felt was a bit like she wasn't really that interesting. And when you first meet her in the first scene, she's been a bit bitchy and she was just kind of a little bit irritating. And maybe that was just the way she was written in the script or the way she got directed, I don't know. But I thought that was a little bit irritating. And then she didn't really go anywhere as a character apart from they just put her into a chamber thing, and then she didn't really seem to have any dialogue or speak, which was just a little bit strange. So that was something that didn't work there. That that they obviously had a character who was irritating, but then they just kind of cut her out of most of the movie to not really have any lines of dialogue, which seems a little bit weird. But there we go. Maybe they found the character wasn't that interesting too, like me. I don't know. Um, but for the most part, I think, like I say, performances are good and the characters are interesting. Thomas Dekker, obviously, there's that thing that you're not sure exactly what's going on with his character, but I won't say anything in spoiler territory. But I did enjoy the movie for what it was. I think there are flaws to it, but I think overall it's an enjoyable experience. And it's kind of plays your head a little bit, but I think that's a good thing because it's a little bit. It's not on the level of Inception, but it's kind of like Inception, the way they play with your mind a little bit, and like, is this hallucination? Is someone actually getting grabbed in physically to the chamber? Is it they can't get out? Are they seeing these things that are actually happening? And that was all interesting to me.